I am 31 years old and male. For about a year, I have been in a relationship with my girlfriend of 27 years. For the past 6 months, we have been cohabitating. A few weeks ago, I spent about $200 ordering some Wagyu steaks. I eagerly awaited their arrival, as I am into cooking and had never tasted a real Wagyu steak until then. Thursday night of last week, the steaks arrived, and I planned to cook them for dinner on Friday. My girlfriend seemed indifferent, although she said she would enjoy dinner with me. Friday morning, before work, an argument arose between us. It seemed really stupid. We couldn't agree on a project involving the garage. Even though I own the house we live in, she kept trying to influence the decision-making. She mentioned Wagyu steaks as proof that I was spending money on expensive food and projects. Leaving for work in a bad mood, I texted her in the afternoon. I expressed my desire to discuss the matter when I got home. She did not respond. Upon returning from work, I was full of anticipation for dinner, but upon entering the house, I was greeted by the horrible smell of smoke. My girlfriend greeted me, grabbed my hand, and led me to the table. She announced that dinner was served. The steaks were completely burnt and completely inedible. Asking her what her intentions were, she sighed theatrically, covered her mouth with her hand, and then said that there was no way she could have accidentally brought the steaks to that state. Judging by the state of the pan, she had probably increased the heat a lot. I accused her of lying. She kept using phrases like, "Oh, you're happy," and "Oh, you've been looking forward to those steaks." I have never felt so disgusted with her. Her birthday was on Sunday, and I had reservations at an upscale French restaurant. The restaurant was chosen especially for her, her parents, and me. I told her bluntly that I was canceling the reservation. She instantly flared up and stated that her parents would be very upset. I didn't care about that anymore. She grabbed the steaks and threw them in the trash. Then she left. Sunday came and went in silence. She didn't utter a word, preferring to stay locked in another room. There was no communication from her parents either. I was beginning to question my decision. Wow, she really is vindictive. People like that never change. It only takes one misunderstanding or a pointless argument for them to ruin everything. Don't be naive. You better break up with her now or be prepared to put up with it for an unknown amount of time. When you break up, expect her to be vindictive and overtly hostile. She will probably try to destroy something in your home. I would recommend setting up some hidden cameras and hiding items with sentimental or monetary value. At least with the cameras, everything will be documented, and if need be, you can provide evidence to the court. What is she trying to accomplish with this behavior? Does she really think it'll prove her point? I don't understand her motives. She's a grown woman. We were taught in kindergarten that this is not the way to prove a point. It's a childish approach. If she's behaving like this after only 6 months together, I can't imagine what's to come. Send her back to her parents. Have them take her back to daycare where this behavior is appropriate. She is trying to dominate, and he is powerless to do anything about it. If this was my house, she wouldn't spend another night in it. Certainly childish behavior at her age is unacceptable. No, you're too old to play games like that. You shouldn't have canceled her birthday dinner. We should end the relationship. Next story. I am a 32-year-old female. I am in an established relationship with my current boyfriend of 40 years. We have been together for almost 10 years. About 4 years ago, we decided to buy a house. We split all of our expenses equally based on our paychecks. We usually have a great relationship. The problems start when I bring up topics that have been bothering me lately. My boyfriend's sister, who is 50, and her husband, who is 55, have been facing financial difficulties. They moved to the U.S. over a year ago to be closer to us. We offered to help them so they could get settled. They are residing in our house. Initially, we paid all their expenses. However, when my son-in-law got a job, we stopped covering their expenses except for mortgage payments, utilities, internet, and other subscription services. They live in a separate part of the house. Her responsibilities include running the household for her family. She does the cooking and laundry exclusively for them. I, on the other hand, take care of the house for me and my boyfriend. This includes taking care of common areas that were not included in our original arrangement. At first, this did not bother me, as I understand the difficulties of finding a job without a college degree or connections in our area. I realized that my anxiety increased about a month ago. At that time, I was talking to my boyfriend's sister in the backyard about a job. She seemed to be in no hurry to look for one. The sister admitted she wasn't sure she wanted a job. Her husband and 19-year-old son, who also live with us, have expressed opposition to her employment. They prefer her to stay at home. They want household chores done and a hot meal ready for their return. If she gets a job, they will have to contribute and cook for themselves. This circumstance hit a nerve with me. I labor in a stressful job and have no way to stay home. My boyfriend often says he can't keep our house by himself, so homemaking is out of the question for me. Also, my boyfriend's sister does not have a disability that would prevent her from working. The only obstacle is her husband and son. I brought this up with my boyfriend, expressing my annoyance that she is not looking for a job since they don't pay her living expenses. I asked him to help her find a job. In response, he called me selfish and unreasonable. He thinks we still have to pay the mortgage regardless of their presence in the house. This caused a huge argument between us. My boyfriend stated that they can stay with us as long as they wish. Furthermore, he assured them that he would never charge them rent. He didn't consult me on the matter. I thought I was setting boundaries for their stay with us, but now I feel like I'm just making him feel jealous because I have to work and my sister doesn't. He makes me feel like an idiot for doing so. Edited. I am carefully reviewing our financial obligations. We are currently splitting the mortgage payments. My boyfriend has a higher income, so he takes care of the gasoline payment and most of the grocery expenses. I, on the other hand, have taken on managing other aspects of our household. Although I was serious about our relationship, my boyfriend always avoided talking about marriage, but I held out hope that he would change his mind. You're not an idiot, and I'm sorry you're in this situation. You split the bills with your boyfriend, and you own a house together. However, the question has arisen. Is it really right for 3 people to live with you rent-free? I understand that they are in a difficult situation. However, it seems that these 3 people could be working and contributing to the household. I wouldn't consider the long-term viability of such a relationship if your boyfriend doesn't consider your feelings. Yes, neither of you can keep a house alone, but it would be much easier if 3 other people were involved. I fully support you on this one. If your boyfriend thinks you should work to pay for the house and expenses, you deserve a say in deciding who lives in your home and under what conditions. A daughter-in-law should do all the housework and laundry for more than just herself, her husband, and son. This could be a form of payment that gives you some free time. If this is not the case, you may be surrounded by people who don't appreciate your efforts. Your boyfriend making these decisions without your consent and expecting you to pay for others should reconsider. Your sister-in-law sounds like she's just taking advantage of the situation. I know you love your current boyfriend, but please think about your future. If you stay in this situation, you will be supporting him and his family until retirement. Think about your interests and opportunities. It's important to your well-being. Now I want to tell a different story. I traveled to another city by bus to earn money. My goal was to provide my family with a decent standard of living. However, because of my frequent absence from home, my wife started seeing other men. While working as a coach, I earned about $240,000 a year. After the divorce, child support obligations for the 2 children amounted to approximately $3,300 per month based on my salary. However, because I was now working in my city and had joint custody of the children, my income dropped to $100,000 per year and alimony was reduced to $800 per month. My ex-wife is outraged as the alimony was less than she expected. My attorney tried to explain to her that alimony is based on my income. Since I no longer work tirelessly or need a huge house, my income has been reduced. She tells those around her that I have reduced my work hours, thus depriving my children of something important. But it isn't. The kids are with me half the time and have everything they need despite my lower income. Edited. All of my extra income came from overtime work. No one can make me work overtime. My ex-wife, a teacher, has to work 2.5 months in the summer to raise her children's standard of living. You're not who she thought you were. You take care of your kids. Now your ex-wife is facing the consequences of her decisions. I am truly sorry that she is still affecting you. Don't feel bad. As a child who grew up in a family where the parents were never together, I know that children cannot be used as a source of income. They will realize that $800 a month is enough. If she wants to earn more, she should get a better job. Even though you may not be meeting her emotional needs, she may now realize your sacrifices. This is your way of expressing love. The kids will be fine. The 50/50th split of time is a blessing. She gets more than 50% of your total assets. I wouldn't believe stories like this if I hadn't experienced something like this myself. Many women think their ex-husbands should give away all of their future earnings and live in poverty, funding their lavish lifestyles. Fortunately, the law in most states says otherwise. My next story. I got divorced 2 years ago. My ex-wife and I have a teenage son who lives alternately with each of us, 1 week with me, 1 week with her. Earlier this year, my girlfriend and her daughter moved in with me. To my surprise, my son immediately found common ground with them. Recently, however, his behavior has become disturbing. He has been neglecting my girlfriend and her daughter. Recently, we found out that we were expecting a baby, and during dinner we told the children about it. My girlfriend's daughter rejoiced at the news of a soon-to-be sibling, unlike my son, who seemed unhappy after dinner. I decided to find out what was bothering him. My son asked if we were really having a baby and how could I be sure it was my baby. I told him that such words were unacceptable. He, however, did not back down and accused my girlfriend of being a destroyer and seeking personal gain. He began to raise his voice, and I suggested that he either calm down and talk to me normally or go to his room and cool off. The son chose to go to his ex. I agreed to drive him as I didn't want him walking alone in the city at dark. I shared the incident with my girlfriend. She advised me to text my son at night and give him time to respond without pressuring him. However, my ex-spouse texted me, calling me an idiot and accusing me of expelling my son for my girlfriend, which was not really the case. I didn't want him to leave, but I couldn't force him to stay against his will. Perhaps my son's reaction is partly due to the attitude of my ex, who can't stand my girlfriend. I will note that my girlfriend contributes to the rent and groceries as she is an adult capable of taking care of herself. Edited. My ex-wife and I decided to divorce as our feelings had cooled and we no longer felt happy together. During the divorce, neither of us accused the other of infidelity. Our son knows that the new relationship in my life started 4 months after the breakup with my ex. My current girlfriend also started a new phase in her love life 2 months after the breakup. She didn't meet my son until she and I were sure we were serious about each other. You're an idiot to expect a kid to be on the same page as adults. It's unrealistic. That's why such information was unexpected to him. He hasn't had time to think about it. Your ex is not to blame for his reaction. She's entitled to her feelings as a parent. You need to work on this with him. This is too much for a teenager. He's clearly distressed. Divorce affects kids in different ways. Since he was one of those teens himself, he needs counseling. He may feel that you have replaced his family with a new one. I don't know the details of your divorce. However, blaming your ex for his negative feelings and assuming she will do something about it won't solve the problem. Comparing his reaction to that of your girlfriend's daughter is unfair. It's great that she's happy. Perhaps her mom gave her a warning. Perhaps her parents' divorce, if there was one, didn't affect her the way it did your son. He needs help to make sense of his parents' divorce. Dad got a new girlfriend. Dad has moved in with his new girlfriend and her daughter. Dad and the new girlfriend are expecting a baby. That's a lot for a teenager. Yeah, dude, you got divorced when he was a teenager and almost immediately had a new family. But now you're having a new baby. Think about how your current kid will take it. Have you thought about the fact that he's a teenager and might feel replaced? You just moved him in and told your son to adjust without any support or discussion about how to adjust to this change. The new baby is just proof to him that you are moving on without him. A story that really surprised me. I have 3 children and they are all adults now, living their own lives. My late wife passed away when our children were in high school and college. 5 years later, I began a relationship with my current wife, Kelly. The kids never liked Kelly and never gave her a chance. They were unhappy when I started dating and even more upset when we got married. With Kelly, we've been married for about 7 years now. She hasn't really done anything to antagonize them. I bought the house when I was married to my first wife. After she died, I continued to pay the mortgage. Kelly moved in with me, sold her possessions, and essentially paid off whatever was left on the house. We now carry the remaining expenses together. Our wills pretty much leave everything to each other. I have a few sentimental items that will go to the kids. The rest, including the house, will go to Kelly if something happens to me. The other night at dinner, the kids asked me about the will. I explained the plan to them and they got very upset. An argument arose that the house they grew up in should go to Kelly. They feel that I am doing the wrong thing and the house should be inherited by them. One of them even suggested that they could kick her out when they inherit the house. They are convinced that I am acting unreasonably, as I am going to leave the house to my wife, who helped pay for it, even though no one else has rights to it. I think it is unfair to remarry and deprive your children from your first marriage of something important. Everyone here is at fault, and your kids are no better. They are just waiting for money without showing Kelly any kindness. But you're not in a better position, either if you cut them off from their inheritance. It makes me wonder if one of the reasons the kids don't like Kelly might have something to do with your behavior. You claim she helped pay the mortgage, but how big was her contribution? Your kids are adults and have grown up in this house, so the mortgage should have been almost paid off. I feel like something is being missed here. Ultimately, you can do as you wish, but your children may decide to cut back on contact with you because of it. I experienced something similar myself when my father just disinherited us because of his new wife. I'm still very angry about it to this day. Please don't repeat these mistakes with your children. It will only cause them to hate your current wife and you more. I feel so sorry for your children. Please try to be better for them.